Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to this Twins talk that we have going on here. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about some big news of the Twins. It's already been in the news the last couple of weeks, and that is about Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz, as of yesterday, has officially signed with the Twins, and he will be in uniform this season. That is fantastic news, and we could just jump right into it. His big bank statement that is coming along with this signing is $14 million guaranteed this year, and then he's got a club option next year in 2020 for $12 million or a $300,000 buyout. That's a lot of money, but it's not as much money as, we're paying anybody else. So I don't think it's a bad idea. The Twins have been we've been good, then we haven't been so good, and then we've been a little bit better, and then we kind of sucked for a while. This is a good buyout for Nelson Cruz. We're not spending, hundreds of millions of dollars on a player like Harper, but we're not, going super cheap and just trying to, rebuild. So I like this idea of going to get a pretty solid veteran. We'll get into his stats here in a second. Is 14 a lot? I think it might be pushing it. I like the 12 million, maybe down to 10 million, but I just don't think we would have gotten him for it. And, this is a good pickup. So let's just jump right into his stats. He has been in the league since 2005. So this is what his, I cannot do math very well, 14th year that he will be in the league. And, just looking at solid base stats, he's played in, about 150 games since 2014. And we'll break this down into sections here. So let's start with last season. Played 144 games last season, had 600 plate appearances, 519 of those were at bats, 70 runs, 133 hits, 18 doubles, 1 triple, 37 home runs, 97 RBIs, 1 stolen base, 55 walks, 122 strikeouts with a batting average of .256, and his on-base percentage is .342. He also had 5 intentional walks. That's it. So, let's just break it down. He was also an all-star last year. He had a pretty solid year. Now, this isn't like an MVP season. He's not an MVP player necessarily like he was maybe back when he was hitting 40 dingers a season. He's really close, but he is getting older. So, is he going to perform to that level? We'll see. Now let's break it down into sections. So the last 5 years, basically, going on 6, he's been an all-star 5 of the last 6 years. He was, what is this? Hold on a second. He was in the MVP voting for 3 of those years. He was a Silver Slugger. Or 4 of those years, he was in the MVP running, and he's been an all-star 5 times. Like, this guy is a guy who we're going to bring in, and he can do some damage right away. But not only is he just hitting for power, he's hitting for the team, rather. So look at his on-base percentage. .342 the last couple seasons. .350, .333, .369, .360, .375, all in that area. That's pretty solid. And then if you look at his batting average, he was pushing 300 a couple seasons ago. 270, 280, 280, 256. This is a guy who's hitting home runs, but he's not necessarily falling off. Anywhere from 250 to 300 is good. Anything above 300 is great. But this guy, he's being productive. He's not just, let's hit home runs, let's strike out, let's walk. As you can tell, he hit 37 home runs. He only walked 55 times, but he only struck out 122 times. He's not going to strike out 200 times in a season. That's pretty good. So, like I said a while ago with the Twins, and I've said this kind of like the last 3 days, the Twins have designated people to do designated things. The Yankees, for example, are entirely power-hitting team. They, Gary Sanchez, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, boom, 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 home run, home run, home run. That's all they're trying to do. Same with the Dodgers. That's why those two teams ended up with the most home runs this last season. The Twins, middle of the pack. I think they were like 23rd, actually. So lower in the pack of hitting home runs. And who did we have? I mean, we had Eddie Rosario, Brian Dozier for a while, Max Kepler maybe, and then Sano, who got hurt. Jake Cave had more home runs than him, or about the same. Like, we had these guys that were hitting about 12 to 15 home runs, and that's not bad, but it's not going to win you games, you know, as much as, like, the Yankees would be, you know. You might lose some games, but you're going to win a lot more if you're hitting a lot more dingers. So, each player on the team has a designated assignment. Cruz is going to hit home runs and, you know, hit for power. If it goes out, it goes out. If it hits a double, sacrifice fly, it all works. Eddie Rosario, he can hit for power. He's also kind of fast. But then you've got people like, I want to use Nick Gordon, Byron Buxton, you know, Andrianza, contact guys, speed guys. Those are their designated guys. You got Mookie Betts for the Red Sox, who's pretty much an all-around player. But then you've got Mitch Moreland, power hitter. You've got, you know, Bogarts, who is a contact hitter. Kinsler is he's just kind of an all-around player as well. But you've got these guys that hit home runs. JD Martinez, another big one, power hitter. He's designated for the power. He's going to hit the power. If he gets on base, he gets on base. And, I mean, he's actually pretty well with the whole. He's kind of an all-around player, but he's made to hit for power, and that's what we're bringing in Nelson Cruz for. There's a great video out tomorrow. Make sure to come back and watch it about Logan Morrison. He was brought in last year, and he kind of sucked, and we all know that, and I'm going to talk about that in tomorrow's video. We also brought in CJ Cron this year. I don't like that idea, especially now, but let's talk about Cruz. He is designated for the power hitter. He hasn't hit less than 37 home runs in the last 5 years, 40, 44, 43, 39, 37. While that is trending down a little bit, he's still hitting above 35 home runs. He hasn't hit below 22 home runs since 2010, and then he hit 33 in 2009, right before, you know, he actually got into the big league, started playing every day or almost every day. This is a guy who we are going to bring into the clubhouse. He's not going to be like Morrison. Morrison hit 30 home runs last year, but he hits for power. Nelson Cruz is a power hitter that can hit. There's a difference there. And again, I can explain that a little bit more tomorrow. So, again, this is a guy who's going to hit 30 home runs easily. He is a powerful dude, but he's also going to get on base, and that's the most important thing. I mentioned briefly yesterday how it would be interesting to see him as a leadoff hitter. We would never, ever do that, but he's got the highest on-base percentage of anybody on the Twins team. Why not put him up there? I mean, or at least he's like top 5, I should say. I guess I don't have the stats in front of me, but you're looking at like a Rosario or Jake Cave as your leadoff hitter. Why not put Nelson Cruz at 2 if he's going to get on? Maybe he hits Rosario home or gets his own home run. Do you want to risk putting him down at 3 and 4 when there could be already 2 outs or guys not on base? The last thing I want to say is this is also a guy, like I said, who's been in the All-Star game for the last 6 years. He's been in the MVP voting. This is a guy, Nelson Cruz, who has hit the most home runs at 203 and the most RBIs with 522 since the start of 2014. While this guy is 38 years old, he was a free agent. You know, there's a lot of talk about what he was going to do. He came to Minnesota. He's going to help us win some ball games, and he's going to produce. That's the most solid thing. This is not a Logan Morrison situation. It's not a Sano situation. It is Nelson Cruz is a solid offensive player, and he's not terrible at defense. He's gonna provide more productivity than I think people are gonna give him credit for. Now, I'm skeptical of him in the sense that yes, he might struggle. You know, Minneapolis, not necessarily the best hitting ballpark. It's pretty deep in center. The walls are pretty high, especially down the right field line. He might struggle. I just don't think it's going to be like Morrison. He's definitely going to get some home runs, especially, you know, when they're on the road. He's going to get home runs. He's going to hit RBIs. I am a little bit skeptical of how well he will do, especially at the start of the season or maybe towards the end of the season. I'm a little bit skeptical, but I'm not as skeptical as what Morrison brought to the table last year. And again, we'll get into that tomorrow. So that is basically all I have for you guys. Let me know. It is official now. Nelson Cruz will sign with the Twins, and that's just my take on him. He's, you know, I think he's going to do pretty well, but again, I'm just a little bit skeptical. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Is this signing for the Twins going to finally do something for them? Will they win the AL Central now? Are they going to make any other moves? And how well do you think Nelson Cruz will do? That's all I have for you today. Make sure to come back tomorrow. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and we will catch you then.